These are just the same way Nana used to make them. I love them so much. Hey everyone, welcome back to Chef Tyler's Croatian Kitchen, and today I have for you Pohani Oslic, or fried fish. This is basically the Croatian version of fish and chips. So we have our fried fish, and of course we're going to be making French fries or Pomfritom. Although fish and chips are usually associated with the United Kingdom, Croatia has such a large coastline, it only makes sense that they'd have their own version of such an iconic dish. So we'll be using Oslic, which is an Adriatic fish and the typical fish used in this dish. However, if you're off in the US, you can use cod or haddock, make it, I guess, a little bit more similar to the British version, but I have never really found Oslic outside of Croatia. Oslic in English is hake, so maybe you can find it, but personally, in my experience, I have not. This is a dish that is commonly served on Fridays, as Croatia is still a very Catholic country. There's lots of people who don't eat meat on Fridays, even outside of Lent. So Pohani Oslic is a great and pretty easy dish to make on Fridays. So let's just jump right into the ingredients. Like I already said, we'll be using Oslic, which is hake in English. You can use cod or haddock instead. Of course, since we're frying, we have our normal dredge. We got flour, eggs, and breadcrumbs, and salt and pepper to give it some seasoning. We will be making French fries, so I have some potatoes here. And we'll be making, like I said, a tartar sauce. So we have pickles, mayonnaise, dill, garlic, and lemon. We just need the juice from the lemon, about half it, and the other half we can use to help garnish the Pohani Oslic when it's done. So since we are frying, we will be using oil. For the potatoes, I'll be cooking in beef tallow. However, for the fish, I'm going to be cooking in sunflower oil. Now, I know that goes against my general rule of not using seed oils, but there is a very good reason for this. Whenever you fry something in oil, the oil tends to take on some flavor of the thing you're frying. In the case of potatoes for French fries, it's not really an issue as the potato flavor is kind of mild. But if you have something that's a little bit more pungent, the oil will take on that flavor. When I made fascidansi, some of the paprika leached out of them and got into the oil, or the tallow really, and then once it solidified, it gave it a nice little orangish hue, and now everything I fry in it gives a bit of a taste of paprika. Personally, I kind of like it. I think it adds a fun extra little flavor. But if that's something you're not interested in, just be aware of that because the oil will take on the flavor. So why does it relate to fish and why am I using sunflower oil? It's because fish has a very pronounced flavor in oil. So when you fry fish in oil, you really can't use that oil for anything else, as it will impart that fishy taste onto the next thing you cook. And if it's something like French fries, your French fries are going to taste fishy, and that's not great. So we're going to use the sunflower oil, and I'm going to kind of quarantine it only for fish. And then that way, if I use like calamari later in the same oil, it's not really going to add a different flavor because it's still fish. I've gone ahead and cut up the potatoes, and they're sitting on a paper towel now. That's just to take some of the moisture out. And also because I washed them off after peeling, get rid of any dirt, to get all that water off as well. We don't want them to be wet when they go into the oil. Then the oil will splatter and we might have a fire. Not in the mood for a grease fire right now. For the dredge, we have our flour, egg, and breadcrumbs. The egg, I use 2 eggs and I lightly beat them together so they're not all the same and you can still see some areas of white and yolk. The flour and the breadcrumbs, there's not really any kind of hard and fast measurement for how much you need. I just put enough in so that it covers the bottom of each plate, and I left them off the side just in case I need more. Usually I don't, but it's always better to have a little bit extra than too little. And at the end, if you have any leftovers, you can mix everything together and fry that as well, kind of make like a hush puppy. I've also gone ahead and seasoned the flour with salt and pepper. Now I already have the tallow coming up to temperature. That's because I want the fries to go first. There's a lot more of them than there is fish, and even though I can do the fish one at a time, given their size, I want the French fries to get a head start. They cook for about 7 minutes until golden brown. Some of these fries are bigger than others, and that's okay. we'll be able to look into the pot and see when some of the smaller ones are ready, and we'll pop those out while the bigger ones continue to cook. The fish, on the other hand, we're going one at a time, so we will very easily be able to tell when it's done, and it'll just be done when the coating is a nice golden brown. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start with the dredging, and then we'll head on over to the stove where we'll actually start frying. Alright, so we're over here at the stove. I've already gone ahead and put the potatoes in to start frying. Like I was saying before, we want them to get a bit of a head start just because there's more and they will take a bit longer. And just keep stirring them around every once in a while, and this will prevent them from clumping together. Also, it gives you a chance to pull some out and see how the cooking is going. Now over here I have some oil coming up to temperature. You might not be able to see, but behind I have both lids, and this is just in case something sparks. We can put a lid on top, turn the heat off, and try to snuff out the fire. I also have one plate here and one plate there, both lined with a paper towel, and that's over here we'll put the fish, and then here we'll put the fries, and that way they can degrease and rest separately. So I'm going to bring over the fish, and to test if it's up to temperature, I'll just add the tail in, and if it starts to sizzle as it does, you know it's ready. So we'll just gently place it in away from you always. We'll go ahead and let this fry until it is golden brown on all sides. Turn the heat down just a bit, because once it's at the temperature, we don't want it to keep getting hotter and hotter, and that something burns. We want to keep it so that it's at a constant around 350 Fahrenheit and nothing actually burns. And once the fish has reached 140 Fahrenheit in the center, we'll remove from the pan. Set aside to degrease, and we'll continue on with the rest of the fish. So I'll be back when everything is done, and then we'll go ahead and start making the tartar sauce. So everything is fried and is now just resting. We're going to go ahead and make the tartar sauce. Tartar sauce is super simple to make, so we'll start off with our garlic, and we're going to cut this really thin so we get it into kind of like, we're basically mincing the garlic. I don't know why I wasn't saying that first. We're basically mincing the garlic, and I'm using a small knife here just to make it one easier, and because I'm going to use this with the pickles as well, but also I didn't want to use two different knives. We're mincing the garlic, that's the point. Another reason we're only using 2 garlic cloves is that the garlic isn't cooked, so the flavor's a bit more sharp, and this way using 2 lessens how, or limits how sharp it's going to be. And once you mince the garlic as small as you can get it, we'll put it into this bowl. I wanted to use a clear bowl so you could actually see the tartar sauce, but I don't think I will have, I don't think those will have enough room, so that's why I'm not using it. And I know Nana could get this finer, but I'm not Nana, so. Next thing we'll do is chop up our pickles. We're gonna chop these basically the same way that we did for the Francuska salata back in the Easter episode. So it's down the middle, and again, and again. So you're basically just going to be making small, sort of cubes, not really, of pickle. And we'll just keep doing that for the rest of them. And once your pickles have been cubed, we'll take them and put them into the bowl with the garlic. All right, and there's a little piece of garlic left. I'll put that there for now. I'm just gonna, while I have the board here, chop this onion, this is not an onion, chop the lemon in half, because we will want half the lemon for juice. I think this side's smaller, so I'll use this side for juice, and then I'm just going to cut wedges. So we have some wedges for, serving with the fish. Okay, the lemon has been wedged. I'm just gonna place it over there, out of the way. And we'll save this over here. This is done. All right, next we're going to take the mayonnaise. For this much, we're gonna want about 200 grams, which is something like 7 ounces of mayonnaise. It might be a lot, but it's worth it. This is a little bit different than the Francuska salata, in my opinion. There's some more flavor and less mayo in a way. Like, I like this, I don't like them just salata. We're just gonna leave it there. We're also going to take some dill. I just opened this, brand new. I had fresh dill I used to get at the market, but I've already bemoaned my poor market situation enough. So the small spoon, like maybe just a little bit. You kind of want a total of about 3 teaspoons. That's a bit bigger than a teaspoon. So that will just mix together. And after mixing, we'll take the half lemon and add that. Doing it like this, so none of the seeds get in. But if a seed gets in, you can always just pull it right in. Just a little bit of salt. And I'm not going to put pepper into this. And give it a mix. And a taste. Very, very nice. And here we have Pohani Oslic the Pomfritom. So perhaps I cheated a bit by having some of the fries before, but they're just so good. Amazing. Like, it's just the nostalgia. Usually I like my fries crispier, but the nostalgia factor here is just overriding. I have enough crispier on the on the Oslic. So sorry, Greg, I've started tasting, but let's go give this a little piece off the top. Dip it into the tartar sauce. The bone. This shouldn't have bones, but if it does, just pull them out. They're not really all that big anyway. Come on, there you go. All right, now we can taste. The tartar sauce is amazing. The sourness from the lemon mixing with the saltiness of the pickles, it's so good. And the outside of the fish, it's so nice and crunchy, but it flakes apart. Like, I don't know if you can see, it just flakes right apart. There we go. See, just like some good fish and chips are supposed to. This is finger food. Who am I kidding with the fork? I'm getting ahead of myself. And I've also just ruined the plate for the end, so I'm not going to hold it up. But here we had Pohani Oslic Pomfritom. If you liked what you saw, please hit like and subscribe, and dobar tek. The tartar sauce we'll do at the end. It's super simple to make. All we have to do is chop up the carrots, chop up the garlic, and then mix it in with the mayonnaise, dill, and the lemon juice.